Hey everybody, Catherine with Listen Local Radio. And today we are in the brand new beach cottage here at Hart Acres. And my special guest, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Nate Green from Washington now.
Home in Washington.
Home in Washington. But Nate and I have a connection from Ohio. Your father, Marshall Green, amazing producer, musician, wonderful human being, is a dear friend of mine from all those many years ago when I lived in Ohio. So he suggested you stop by Hart Acres, and I'm glad he did. Now you are in the area. Why? Tell us what you're doing.
So I'm in the area studying wasps and native bees in Joshua Tree. So at Washington State University, I study a group of wasps called Pseudomazarus, which are the pollen wasps. So I'm studying how they're related and how their host plant choice has affected their body shape.
Wow.
So I got the opportunity to apply for a grant to come down here from the Joshua Tree Association.
Cool.
And I applied and got the grant. So I came down here to document these wasps in the park. Until 2 weeks ago, they had never been found in the park, but they had been found all around it.
Oh, wow.
And then I was also looking for nests, but I was not able to find any.
The actual wasp nest.
Yes.
Yeah.
So these wasps make mud nests
Okay.
that they build on like the side of rocks. And because they're mud on rocks, they're hard to spot. They're small.
Right. So how come they're just now getting into the park? Do you know why?
So they've been in the park. I'm sure they've been there, longer than humans have been in North America.
Okay.
But because it's a national park, entomologists can't just go there and collect because it's protected, which is
Gotcha.
great.
Right.
And just no one had ever taken a picture and posted it online.
Okay.
So yeah, they've been there a long time. Just no one had looked for them.
So what does your research consist of?
So So like I said, I'm working on how these wasps are related. There's 15 species in the genus Pseudomazarus, and they're
Okay.
all found in North America. So what I'm doing is I've gathered specimens from all these different museums and collected them myself in the field, and then I'll extract DNA from them and use that to determine how they're related. And then that will be like the backbone for a bunch of other research,
Okay.
including the flower stuff I mentioned earlier.
And do you do all of that in the field? Like you do that scientific-y stuff there, or is there a lab that you go to?
Right. So I'm in the Murray lab at WSU.
Oh,
So
okay.
we do have a lab all set up for DNA extractions.
Okay.
So I'll collect the wasp in the field, ideally into 100% alcohol,
Okay.
or take it back alive and put it in the freezer alive. And then in the lab I'll extract the DNA and
Okay.
then do the library prep and all that stuff.
Can you tell anything yet? Like, do you see any findings?
So I sent some of my DNA off for sequencing because we can't do the actual sequencing part.
Yeah.
And I just got the results from that like 2 days before I started this trip.
Okay.
So I haven't had a chance to do any analyses with it. So when I go back, I'll have like 4 days of finals for classes, and then I'll have all summer to work on it.
Oh, neat.
So hopefully in like the next 2 or 3 weeks,
Okay.
if I move quick enough.
Very cool. And how long have you been here in Joshua Tree doing that?
I got to Joshua Tree on the 14th.
Okay.
So a little over a week.
And that was your first time in Joshua Tree?
Yeah, first time in Joshua
And
Tree.
what's your experience?
Love it so much.
Yeah.
It was so cool. I'm from Ohio, so the desert is just so different to me, and just seeing the diversity and just, so I really like bees too, and I was also looking at bees in the park.
Okay.
And bees are more diverse in deserts than anywhere else.
Okay.
So seeing the diversity of bees was amazing.
Oh, wow.
And
I wouldn't think that they would be more diverse here.
Yeah.
That's so bizarre.
I'm not sure, but I think it has to do with they end up specializing on plants.
Oh, okay.
And because they specialize on the plants,
Right.
they end up speciating.
I get it. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Speciating.
Speciating.
So, what other insects have you studied in the past?
So pretty much just bees and wasps for like formal studies.
Okay.
But I do really like beetles. This winter, one of my big goals was to collect this weird order of insects called Grilloblattidae, which are ice crawlers.
Oh.
So they're these weird, kind of like if you crossed a cockroach and a termite looking things. Yeah, they're kind of ugly, but I love them. And they're found in like ice caves and in really snowy areas,
Okay.
mountain peaks, and they're just really uncommon. They were first discovered in like 1910, which is really late to discover a
Right.
whole group of insects.
Sure.
So I talked to all the old guys at WSU and was like, where do I find these things?
Yeah.
And yeah, made it happen. Went out and found 6 or 7 one night.
And where did you find them?
I'm not gonna tell you where exactly, but
Okay.
in central Idaho.
Okay.
Gonna keep the spot secret.
Totally. Dig it.
So yeah.
That's exciting. So what made you want to get into this field?
So most people's story about getting into entomology is, oh, I loved bugs as a kid, and that just never went away.
Yeah.
That's not my story. I remember being a kid and looking at anthills, and oh, those are cool.
Yeah.
But in high school, I had to do an insect collection, and I hated every second of it. It was miserable, worst experience ever.
Yeah.
And then in college, I needed to take an extra upper level class, and I ended up taking spider biology as a 3-week-long summer course. So we spent the first half of the day out collecting spiders. The professor would lecture for like an hour, and then we would spend the rest of the day identifying them. I just loved it. It was so fun.
Cool.
So I changed my schedule for the fall so I could take entomology, and fell in love with bees and wasps there.
Nice. Aw, I love that. So what do you want to do? What's your goal?
Do cool things with bugs.
Yeah.
I really like museum work. So at WSU we have a pretty large museum.
Like the display of it all and that kind of thing?
Yeah, I like doing displays. I like doing outreach.
Yeah.
And those are things that are often associated with museums. And then, I just like being in the museum, seeing all the cool bugs. Yeah.
Yeah, very cool. Okay, so what advice, obviously everyone realizes that bees are nearing endangered species, and what can we do to help them?
Sure. Always a good question. So, to be clear, when most people think of bees, they think of honeybees, which are important and great, but they're not really in danger of going extinct.
Okay.
Right? There's millions or billions of them in the world. It's the native bees that most people are more concerned about.
Okay.
There's a lot of native insects that haven't been seen since, the 60s or earlier. So, some of the best things you can do is don't use pesticides in your home garden, plant native plants, and make sure that native bees have somewhere they can nest.
Okay.
So there's, certain soil types that they like, decaying wood, they'll nest in that. So just doing research on what kind of bees are in your area and what you can do.
You could set up little nesting boxes and stuff.
Yeah.
Not necessarily like a beehive, but...
Yeah, like the bee house thing with all the little, like bamboo rods. Those can be good.
Okay.
But you have to make sure that you do it right.
Yeah.
Because if you don't take care of it the right way, it can just spread pathogens and diseases among the local bees.
Right. No good. Okay, well that's good to know. Well, thank you for all this important work you're doing. We thank you for your love of the bees and the wasps. Some people not so much with the wasps.
Yeah. A lot of people don't like the wasps.
Yeah, what can you give us that's enduring about them that will change our mind?
So they're beautiful, right? So most wasps are really small, and if you look at them under a microscope, they're these bright metallic colors, pretty blues and greens.
True, yeah. Iridescent.
Yeah. And then, they're also important for the ecosystem, right? They're important predators of pest species. Most wasps are parasitoids, so they, kill pest species at the larval or egg stage, which is really important.
Right, yeah.
So yeah, the asshole wasps, if you will, are the minority of wasps, right? Yellow jackets, hornets, paper wasps. they give the rest of wasps a bad name.
And what's good about those wasps? Are they doing anything to help?
Yeah, they're still predators of
Yeah.
pests, and
Okay, right.
they're still important for the ecosystem. They're
Alright.
just a little more aggressive and less friendly towards humans.
Right on. All right. Well, thank you very much, Nate. We look forward to learning more about wasps. We'll follow your illustrious career. And do you have like a website or anything that we can follow you at?
I do. I would have to get you that information later.
I'll pop it up on the thing.
All right, awesome. Thank
All right.
you.
Thank you very much, Nate.
It's great to be here.
Cool.